Today's presentation, how to make a website that really engages. I'm Jay Cooper. I'm a content strategist for School Now, and I'll be turning it over to Gracie Thompson here in a little bit. She's our digital communications specialist. And reminder that throughout the course of today's presentation, you can download a school website planning guide. It's a very comprehensive look at making sure you check the right boxes when you put your next school website together. This is a free download. We'll repeat this slide at the end of the show, so no need to hustle up and write it down now, but we'll repeat this, and we'll actually send you a follow-up email too with the same information. Our agenda today is going to review how to engage all your audiences, some planning requirements for your website. We're going to show you some really cool examples that we've curated of great websites and what makes them so engaging. And then how to measure your website engagement. That's a big key. So let's start off with engaging all your audiences. Your website's really a communication hub, and therefore it deserves a lot of attention. It's really your foundation, and it's not something you want to do lightly or do every year. So it's really going to be your foundation for your communications for at least a couple of years, maybe much longer. And it's important because it's your first stop. Your website's your first stop for information for many of your school community. So let's start with what a good website can provide for a school. It's really your official home for your information. And it's things, you have to have links to apps and social media, and it needs to be a very dependable help center. It can save time and resources by having a single place for your users to update content, and a single place, obviously, for your community to find that information. A school website is really a great opportunity to create a positive experience, and it all boils down to a professional look and a professional performing website. So with a good website, you can improve outcomes. You can be more effective with your communications by engaging your entire school community. And all that being said, when you get right down to it, you don't want your school website to portray your district or your school in a bad light. And we got this comment from a superintendent recently. We want to eliminate the frustration and confusion that our parents encounter and our staff encounters when you get on your website. There's nothing more confusing, whether it's a school website or another kind of website. You go there and you don't find what you're looking for. So who's your website for? A quick review of the audiences. Obviously, your parents. When they come to your website, they're after this. We call them the standard plays, if you will. They need the calendar and event information, forms, contact directories, and things like grades and assignments and payments, and links, important links to all the other great things that they need, like classroom pages and social media. The students, they too depend on your website for links to teacher pages and their grades and school resources. And really, a really cool website can go a long way toward building school spirit and reflecting that culture and that brand that you want to create and maintain. A good website's also for prospective families with school choice and open enrollment, vouchers looming as standard procedure in the enrollment picture. A great website is really critical. It needs to be useful. People need to be able to search using SEO and find out things about your school. And again, it's a place where you can depict your mission and your values, that brand, and tell your school story. And finally, faculty and staff, don't leave them out. A good website is a great resource for them as well. Teacher pages, HR policies and forms, and when it comes to recruiting that next great teacher, or more importantly, I know it's a big issue now with schools, holding on, retaining the ones that you have. A good website can go a long way toward doing that. So, and then your entire school community, obviously beyond your internal audiences, and that goes with the community at large. You've got news media, they need to be accessible to your entire community. Board of Education information as well. So what are some website planning requirements? Majority of visitors, last stats we see are over 75% of people are hitting school websites via their mobile phones or tablets. There's increased activity through social media. There's a bit of a blur, if you will, that when they go to your website, they expect the same kind of feeds, social feeds, and access to the Facebooks and the Instagram feeds that they can achieve through those channels directly. They want that integrated with your website. Websites need to accommodate your diverse audience groups. The multilingual needs are critical. And again, your website is your first stop for school information. So what are some of the mandatories in your planning? You have to make sure you're serving your entire school community, all your groups. Obviously, your information must be organized, current, easy to use, or you get that comment that superintendent had. You don't want confusion, and you don't want your website visitors to go away without the information they're seeking. And then your website content needs to integrate with all your other digital channels. So first thing you do is you build a team. You need to get buy-in from your school leadership. That team should be well-rounded. Obviously, your communications lead or engagement director is going to should be driving that. Many superintendents or assistant superintendents these days are very communication savvy or communications driven, and so it's important, obviously, that you get that buy-in. If you're fortunate enough, a big district or even some of the medium-sized ones have a dedicated web or social media specialist. Obviously, you want to involve them on your team, and principals too. A lot of principals are big on communications, and so you want to include them on your team if you can. And of course, from a technical standpoint, your IT department needs to be involved. Your website has to be barrier-free for people with disabilities. That's a whole nother ball game, if you will. If you haven't done it already, make sure you perform an ADA audit. Your current or your next website provider should be able to provide you with some direction on that. If you don't have a web accessibility coordinator, you should have one appointed. And again, that will probably fall in the lap of your communications lead. The bottom line is you need to make ADA part of your DNA. And again, it's not just a site, but it goes for hearing disabilities, physical disabilities, cognitive learning disabilities. That all has to be accommodated on your website. Another mandatory is mobile friendly. In terms of being mobile friendly, that's where you need to make sure that all your website content appears and is accessible on your various mobile devices, and it's without having to scroll and zoom and pinch. So that's a key part, and that's responsive design is a key part of a good website. Social media needs to be integrated into your website. Obviously, Facebook is carrying the load for the most part when it comes to social media, but the other ones, Instagram, ought to be incorporated into your social picture. And X is still not a lot of schools are using X, formerly Twitter, but YouTube is a key social media channel you make sure you integrate with, and then LinkedIn, of course, that has all kinds of ramifications for staffing as well. Another mandatory we talked about earlier is culturally diverse. Language translation is key. Make sure it's built into your website structure. You got to serve the multilingual audiences, the parents, and not just the parents, but other stakeholders, students, staff, and community members who expect to be able to access your content in their native language. All right, we're going to review a couple of features that websites these days should definitely have, and then I'm going to turn it over to Gracie. First, navigation. it's important to keep the navigation simple and clear, and that's with primary navigation. Different colors and sizes. If they're all different, if it's designed poorly, it's going to be really hard to navigate. So your primary navigation is critical. The goal is to keep the naming and information organized and simple in a hierarchy that makes it easy to find. Utility navigation. It's also nice to have that, and that can be above the primary navigation. It's a useful method of adding popular links. You can have things like calendars, search window, contact information. A feature banner, just about every school and school district has this. It could be a rotating group of images. It could be a video. It's that main key visual element that a website will have, particularly on your homepage. Make sure, again, accessibility, make sure your buttons are descriptive and large enough, and you've got all the alt text covered so people that with disabilities can access your pages. Quick links, great for targeting your visitor segments. You can group them into parents, staff, students, and faculty. You can break it down how you like. Various promotions. You want to feature those on your website. Tabbed links. Here's another example of segmenting groups of quick links. And it's a tab type menu, can work really well, keep the home page nice and clean. Again, a lot of these will automatically adapt to mobile devices as well. A mega menu, having a multiple column navigation can be really helpful for organizing those big sections. And some popular links bars. Very nice when you got, again, the popular links that people are going to be accessing. And then some mobile design considerations. Again, your website needs to work well in the mobile environment. The navigation and easy to find contact info and buttons, those should just pop out at you. And it should be tested routinely on in your mobile views. Again, quick links and social media links should be included on your mobile view, and expandable sections that makes it easy to pop open those sections and get a deeper dive into the information that the visitor might be seeking. And here I wanted to include an example of a landing page. Landing page is a great feature that many schools are starting to use on their websites. It's dedicated so that visitors, when they land there, there's a specific call to action. In this case, it's to download the mobile app for the particular school district. Some schools can use a landing page and here's one for admissions consultation to boost enrollment, for set up a private meeting. But it can also, this is a private school application, but it can also be used for public schools, like if you want to use it to promote certain events or to buy tickets, that type of thing. So it's key that you survey your user groups. It should be in the initial part of your planning. Put together a list of your internal and external users. And there's various ways you can set up surveys. Your user groups range from parents and students, faculty, your support staff, your athletics, extracurriculars, and of course your internal, the list that we reviewed earlier, part of your team. You want to make sure you're getting their input as well. We also have a website user survey guide that you're welcome to download for free. You can go to content.schoolnow.com/website user survey. And if you can download that and use that as a starting point to make sure you're covering all your bases in terms of gauging your user needs. And finally, as part of your mandatories, you want to make sure you review other school websites. It's like, okay, what's the school district next to us doing, or what school district is really doing a great job, a bang up job with their school website? Hey, somebody once said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." You get good ideas from other school websites. By all means, that should be part of your diligence in terms of planning your next website. Let's create a site that's at least as good, if not better, than that next district over, or one in the next county. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gracie Thompson. She's one of our digital communication specialists, and she is going to show you some really cool website examples. Gracie?
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Jay. Yeah, and in the spirit of reviewing other websites to get some information, let's do just that. So, when I was checking out the registration page, I noticed a district name that I recognized because my mom actually attended this school district, Fairfax County Public Schools. And so, as I was clicking through these websites, I was very impressed with this one. So, I thought we might as well spend some time on it. So Fairfax County Public Schools, I have never seen a district put the weather on their homepage. I think this is a really unique take on a homepage because it does position the district as a valid information source. So, like I said, I love that they put the weather here. I think that is a really unique take on a homepage. I also love their large homepage banner. I think a lot of schools and districts are moving towards that really huge, high quality graphic homepage banner. And the unique thing about theirs is that in each of the homepage photos, there's an option to register for upcoming events. And I think this is a really cool call to action to have in your homepage banner. And I am sure that this drives engagement for the district. So kudos to Fairfax County Public Schools. We have a beautiful homepage banner. Nice work. All right. Next up, we have Kirby School District 140. And also, might I add that these districts are in no particular order. I think they're all wonderful. So Kirby School District 140 is a School Now website customer. I love their website a lot. They've got, once again, that large homepage banner with quality images. They have a really nice drop-down menu up here. Their navigation is very simple and streamlined. As I scroll down, I really appreciate that their quick links have clickable icons. It's very visually appealing, easy to access what you need just by a quick glance. Down here, you're easily able to learn more about the district by clicking on their About Us section. And what I really appreciate about this homepage is they include their news, and then right below that, they include their upcoming events. So parents are not only going to be informed of what is going on at the school district, but other things they can involve themselves in. One thing I love about school district websites is when they include at-a-glance statistics. I think this is a really cool place to boast some cool stats you have about your district. So whether you have a really great teacher-to-student ratio, if you had a certain number of high test scores, whatever it is that your district is succeeding in, this is a great spot to boost that out to your community. And down here, I think this is a really unique use of graphics. If you're wanting to include more images on your site without losing space for information, I think this grid view is a really cool way to do that. So you'll notice that the About Us, resources, and schools are clickable, but the images are just there for the aesthetic. I think that's a really cool way to include more media on your website. Another awesome thing about Kirby is that each of their school sites are very similar to their district sites. So no matter where I land on the website, whether it's an elementary school or a high school, I'm going to have a very similar navigational experience. So it is not going to be hard for me to find information depending on what site I am looking at. So wonderful work, Kirby School District 140. All righty. Next up, we have Community Consolidated School District 59. And I believe that this website represents branding to the highest level. They have a really beautiful homepage. So, I mean, these images are quite amazing. I think it's kind of cool that they chose to put their vision on the homepage as well. I mean, that is a very important part of your district. And if you're wanting your community to be engaged and understand what your district is all about, I think that's a great thing to put in your homepage. They also have a unique navigation in that they have these sticky buttons on the side of their homepage, but also a top navigational experience with searchability here. And as I keep scrolling, they are boasting their vision once again. And so you are not going to be shy on what CCSD 59 is all about. I think that is a really cool way to engage your community in what your district is all about. Another thing I love about this homepage is these tiles here. They have a really cool slide up ability, so I don't even have to click on them to understand what I would learn in that section. I think that is a really nice touch on their district website. And down here, I think this may be my favorite part, although I think I've said that about 5 times now. The district news here includes all sorts of things going on their school district and especially their board updates. I think this is really interesting because I feel like board minutes and agendas can be really intimidating to the community and hard to read, but they make it very upfront and easy. So if I click on one of these, they're very digestible. So it's showing me all the things that were spoken about in the board meeting, different action items. So they talked about their calendar for next year. It is very easy to read and for the community to be informed of. So nice work, CCSD 59.
Gracie,
Yeah.
don't you find that the board information and school board information, there's an increasing amount of interest and scrutiny from the school community regarding, okay, what's really happening with our board these days?
Yeah, and there's been some lawsuits going on too in our country, just given that some things aren't shared or visible to the public. And it's absolutely crucial from an engagement standpoint and a legal standpoint to include your community in what kind of decisions your board is making. And I think putting it on your homepage, like CCSD 59 did, is a wonderful way to make sure everyone has that information accessible to them. It's a great
Right,
point.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? If you have some about any of these districts I'm going over, feel free to put them in the Q&A and I will try and read those over as we are going. Alrighty, next up we have Round Rock Independent School District. This is another one I just love. I love all of these. The first thing I noticed about this website is their language accessibility. So I believe that they probably put their high traffic or most popular languages that represent their school community up here. So instead of somebody having to click the drop down if they're a speaker of another language than English, they have their language represented up here, which I feel like just brings in that inclusive feel for their community. I think that's really special that they did that. I also love right here this A to Z index. If I click here, I am brought into not only a sitemap, but an organized sitemap alphabetically. I think this is really special and geared towards the non-technical users, so there is no excuse for not finding information you need on the website. It is listed in alphabetical order. That is a unique feature I have not seen before. Normally, you have to scroll all the way down to the footer to get to the sitemap, and even still, it's categorized by department. And sometimes people don't know what department they should even be looking on. So the A to Z index is a nice touch here. I also really appreciate their homepage banner. It's a timely announcement, which tells me that the rest of the information I find on this website is going to be current and up to date. It's Black History Month, which I think is also a really special thing to promote on your homepage. Over here, they have this Let's Talk pop out. So I am able to communicate with the district from anywhere I scroll on the homepage. They are obviously wanting to hear from their community. I think that's a really cool way to do that. They also have an enroll today call out. So they're trying to boost their enrollment. They're making it easy for those new families to do so. As I keep scrolling, they of course include their news. And my favorite, second favorite maybe thing about this website is their apply today call. Just like Jay was talking about earlier, this is a great resource to use your website to recruit and retain talent. And this is a great way that Round Rock is doing so to recruit talent. I mean, they're making it very obvious that they want quality educators, and you can join their team or contact a recruiter, which is cool. As I keep scrolling, whoa, sorry for that. As I keep scrolling, we have the quick links here. I love the quick link icon thing. We saw that in some of the other sites we've already been through. Makes it very visually appealing, easy to find what you're looking for at a glance. They also have a video reel, which I think is very cool. I think students would really appreciate this too. It's cool to see what's going on in other schools, what your friends might be doing, who's featured in it. I can see this being a very high traffic area on their homepage. And as we scroll down, that is it for Round Rock Independent School District. They have great quality images, all of it. We love Round Rock Independent School District's website. Awesome. Next up, we have Lafayette Parish School System. This is another School Now website that I just adore. They have really fun and playful colors. It gives that educational feel while still being professional and streamlined. I think these are really cool colors to be using, all those teals. The drop-down menus up here are very dynamic. So they have different kinds of feels depending on where you hover over. And I really like that they include buttons down here. So it's kind of boasting where you might likely be clicking. So I'm assuming these are those high traffic areas where they've maybe measured their analytics on the site. Notice a lot of people are clicking on registration. Let's make that a button easy to find. I think that's a cool way to do your navigation up here. All right, as we keep scrolling, of course, we have those clickable icons. We all know I love those now. And then our quick links, here we go. We have these based on persona. I think this is really cool and a great way to gear this towards the non-technical user. If I'm a parent, I can find what I need here. I'm a student, I'll click on this tab, or I'm a community member, and here's my tab here. This is a great way to consolidate information, kind of like what Jay was speaking to earlier. Having that tabs gives you a smaller spot to put more information and without having it be overwhelming. I really like the way they did this by persona. Down here, we have their news, which is really cool. They are boasting a fast track $16 million upgrade to their school system, which is really cool. Of course, you should include that on your homepage. And then down here, we have their district calendar. So I have the ability actually to subscribe to their district calendar, which I think is really cool. So I can have these events show up on my own phone, which is really cool. So I don't even have to go to the district website to find them. But if I click on view all events, I'm going to be brought into their calendar. And we have an accessible list view here, which is super cool. When I hit select calendars, I'm able to click on different areas where I might have students. And then those events are going to be segmented by color. So I'm going to see if I have a student in high school versus elementary school, I'm going to see their events in different colors, which is very important. I think that is a great way to show parents that you are really gearing towards them and making sure they are easily able to read your calendar depending on where their kids are at. Awesome work. And then let me go back to this homepage because I'm not done with Lafayette. As I keep scrolling down, I love these graphics. They used a really cool way to bring in their school and district colors by using backdrops behind these people here. These are students at their schools, and they used backdrops in their school colors there, which is a great way to add that design element to your school website. They also are boasting new renovations here. So if this is something your district is doing and you have a new library, you have a new school of some kind, a new paint job somewhere in the elementary school, that's a really cool place to be able to share those on your website in a grid view like this. And it's really cool. And then of course they show their mission and their vision. That is crucial on a homepage. I think it is a big miss when people do not include their mission and their vision on their homepage. They also include the district at advance. This is at a glance, sorry. This is a different take on the district at a glance. They still include stats, but it looks different. So there's a lot of different ways to boast the stats of your school district on your website. This is a really good example. And then I also want to take a moment for the footer. I never like the footer on the school district website. I think it can get very convoluted. There's just a lot of very small text, and sometimes it just does not play the part it needs to be playing. This is a really great example of a footer. It is big, large, clickable icons. It is not hard to find the information I'm looking for down here. So kudos to Lafayette Parish School System for a very clean looking footer. The buttons down here, wonderful. I like it a lot. All right. And the last website I have put together to share is the West Clermont School District website. This is another School Now website. And so let's talk about it. The West Clermont School District does a really cool homepage video. If you have the resources in your school to create a high quality video like this, I think that is just about the best kind of homepage banner you can have, is really engaging banner video. So this is a really cool way to do that. West Clermont has a really unique take on their video. On these drop downs too, they're very clean and concise. But what I love about them is these sticky buttons. So the work, volunteer, give, connect, and enroll show up on each of them, which is a unique take on the drop downs because it's obvious that there's certain things under these buttons that they'd like you to click on. So they are going to follow you throughout the site, and spoiler alert, they're going to show up later in the homepage too. So there's a lot of continuity there. As I keep scrolling, I have another take on personas, and I would love to hear in the chat if you have a preference between the two personas I showed you from Lafayette Parish School System. They did it broken down by parent, student, and community member. This one is really cool too. It's a different take on personas in that it shows visitors, current West Clermont families, and staff members. So that is a really interesting way to break down the tabs for the quick links. I think that's a really cool way to engage specific audiences as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you have a preference between personas, let me know in the chat. Over here, we also have a mark your calendars thing. I think this is a really cool take on upcoming events. It shows you the most important things coming up. It's cool. Down here, I think is also really cool. West Claremont School District, their main colors are navy and white, so not automatically colorful, but they somehow still incorporated color to their website, which I think is a really crucial element for educational websites. So one way they kept it clean and not overwhelming is just by putting the colors in the outline of the words. I think that's a really cool way to incorporate color without it just being bold and yelling at you. So they're still using color on their website without it being overwhelming. I think that's a really cool way to do that. And here we have these revisited again, our work, volunteer, give, connect, and enroll. Lots of continuity throughout the site. Still some more bold colors and what they are wanting you to see on their website. They've got their upcoming events that I can subscribe to. If I click on this again, similar to Lafayette's, I'm able to select calendars and see them color coded. So if I want to see the Board of Education calendar and Clough Pike Elementary, let me apply those selections and you'll see I have those color coded right here. Let me also show you what the accessible list view looks like too, because I know we touched on ADA, but ADA is not talked about enough from a calendar perspective. And this is a really cool way to support your community members with disabilities. This is really easy for a screen reader to read. This is accessible list view. And so you're able to add these to your calendar, stuff like that. I think that's a really cool way to support your community. All righty. That is it. Oh, I see something in the chat. Let's see. I like the visitor tab in a district that has a lot of new families moving in. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really cool take on the tabs. I think that is a really interesting one. This is the first district I've seen that has done that. So kudos to West Claremont for trailblazing that.
Gracie, on that tab there, click staff member. What sorts of information is bulleted under there?
Yeah, so it just brings them into their staff portal.
Oh,
so
okay.
like you were saying with kind of gearing the website towards staff, an intranet is a really great way to do that. Just a password protected area on your site that operates similar to your homepage, but that is just for staff members. I think that's really cool.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Good.
Alrighty. I'm gonna stop sharing unless there's anything else I can click on, show anybody.
And for those of you who Gracie has, if you go to YouTube and put in just search School Now YouTube, we've got Gracie has a rundown of 10 really cool top 10 designs, school website designs. You can learn more about what flips Gracie's switch when it comes to great website design. And it's a short video, and she addresses many of the points that she addressed just previously, and with a deeper dive into what makes some of these cool websites so cool. So go to YouTube, search School Now, and there's a list of School Now videos, and you'll see Gracie's video down in there. So check that out for more information on that. Thanks again, Gracie, for your chunk. We're just about done. Just want to wrap up a couple housekeeping items here. First off, though, it's measuring engagement. Don't feel bad that you don't know what your popular pages are, and maybe you're not doing such a great job of measuring your engagement. Just a couple of slides I wanted to go over here. Your website engagement and can be measured. You want to know where your visitors are coming from, what pages are most popular, what the visitors are looking for, and that gets into again, the tab feature is a great way to go about doing that. And then how are they accessing your site? Those are questions that you need to have answers to. So how do you do that? Google Analytics. Google Analytics, it's great, gives you the ability to assess your website. You must be running Google. It's free for schools. And there's all kinds of how-to out there, and it's a great way. You can do you find out where they're coming from, what devices they're using, and then we actually have an article that our CEO put together, and this you might want to include this one as well, Lauren, in the chat window. It's a blog article how schools can actually implement Google Analytics. It's a step-by-step. If you go to schoolnow.com, our blog there, and just search for Google Analytics, it'll come up, and it's written by Steve Williams, our CEO. So check that out. That'd be a good resources to give you get a good handle on what Google's take on how your website is performing, and it gives you a baseline. And that's what you want to do. You want to have an ongoing process of improving your website, and that includes continuing to survey your website users and also your content contributors and your visitors. And then you want to conduct an annual review with your website provider. This is something that your website provider really owes you. How are we doing? And so that's something you want to make sure that your CMS provider is doing. So where to start? Just phase one, set goals for your new website. Conduct your research. That includes the data and the surveys, your Google Analytics. You want to review those top websites. Again, that's critical. I mean, you want to know what's working for other schools and other districts. And you got to consider your timing and resources, of course. It's not every day that a school or district implements a new website. It's quite an undertaking. And so you want to make sure that your timing is realistic and you're bringing the proper resources to the endeavor. And then establish your requirements. You jump in on your site architecture, start roughing out outlines of how you want things to go. And again, a good website provider will, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. Again, look at what some of these good websites are, how they do it, and that gives you a good template, if you will, to follow. You want to look at your design assets, and that's like Gracie was talking about, those pictures and how they use the backdrop that coordinated with the school colors, and you want to make sure you got a handle on your existing design assets. You want to maybe get rid of the ones that aren't working so well, or you could do without, and then outline what you want to how you want to go forward with depicting your school brand through good design and imagery and such. Content supervisors. Again, if you're the communications lead, don't do it all yourself. Make sure you delegate and have those responsible for the content areas be the ones that keep that content fresh, and that is so critical. Your content's got to be fresh. It's got to be accurate. And then again, that goes to establishing workflows as to who's going to be approving what content. So again, if you've got any questions at this point, I know the chat window is open. I see some in chat. If you want to take a moment and let's see what we got going there in chat. Will it be yes, it will be available, and we'll record a recording of this will be sent to all attendees. In fact, all registrants. So we'll do that. We'll make sure you get a copy of today's presentation, and we will have a certificate of attendance for sticking around and hanging in there with us. And so with that, before you leave, want to make sure that you get the school website planning guide, and there's a quick survey. We got like 5 questions we need you to answer. That'll pop up here in just a moment. And thanks for joining us. And we appreciate you spending time with School Now. And again, thanks Lauren, and thanks Gracie for helping bring this presentation to you. And we'll see you next time at a School Now webinar.
Thank you, everybody.